guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, high school, and recent graduate. Today I'm going to be doing a homeschool plan with me in my B6 vertical common planner. This is the academic year version. And I literally just purchased this a few weeks ago to try out instead of the Erin Condren teacher planner this year. I spent the summer going through all kinds of different planners and doing a bunch of different plan with me's, and I really hadn't considered changing my teacher planner system, but as I went throughout the summer, I realized that I wanted something much smaller than what I'm used to. Still absolutely love the Erin Condren teacher planner, and it is what I have used for homeschool planning for the past 10 years. But this year I just felt like I needed something a little bit different. I think partly because my oldest graduated, so now I am back to planning for 2 for homeschooling. This is super portable and tiny, so we are going to go through it together. I did do a full review and walkthrough of how I plan to use this as a homeschool planner. And like I said, we are only a few weeks in, so we're actually only 2 weeks in. This is the 3rd week of homeschool that we will be planning together. And I think I have a pretty good idea of how I want things to be set up. So the first thing that I'm going to do is kind of just block off the different sections that I will use for the week. Because I have 2 kids, I'm just doing 2 columns, one for Lucy and one for Jack, and the B6 planner and actually all of the Sterling Ink planners have these little dots to separate the sections. On the B5 size, they actually have multiple dots, but for I think A5 and everything below that, they just have the 1 dot up in the middle and the dot in the middle of the page horizontally. So I'm going to draw out my boxes first, which is where I will do the bulk of my planning. Okay guys, I already messed it up because I did not want to have a line all the way down here. I just wanted these 2 pages as the 4 quadrants, and then because this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, this is Friday, this is like a weekly review, and then this is project notes as far as like passion projects or other notes that I want to write down. So that's okay. I can still just make this into Lucy's review and Jack's review, but ideally I would like it to be more of just like a summary of the whole week and not necessarily kid specific, but maybe it will need to be. Again, this is only the 3rd week of homeschool planning. So I think what I will do next, one of the harder things with this Tomoe River paper is that it's super thin. There isn't necessarily bleed through, but sometimes the shadowing is quite dark. And when I use these Stettler fine liner pens, they do tend to be pretty dark on the other side of the page. But we're just going to go with it for right now. So this is Jack, will be on this side. And then Lucy is this pink color. I think what I would like to do is get some highlighters. Just threw my washi tape at myself, but I don't know which color I would want. These came in like a 15 pack and I use them for financial planning for my spend tracking, and I color code everything with the different spend categories. So I need to figure out which color I would want for Jack and Lucy, and that might be what I need to do going forward because I do not like to see this. I think that I did do some highlighting over here, which I think actually was a little bit better. There is still some shadowing here, but that is okay. All right, so, oh, and you know what? I will show you, I don't know if I've said this. I did kind of come through and do the monthly boxes that I want to have. I did not start in August because we already started our homeschool year and I really didn't have anything that I needed to put down for August, so I just have September through April right now. And then I have Lucy's books and curriculum, which I have not put in here yet, and then Jack's books and curriculum, which again I need to put in here. But right now I am just going to put the dates in for this week. The other part of this planner, which is really great, is all of the goal stuff at the start of the planner. There's a yearly tracker, there are mini monthly calendars. This is the academic year, so it has 25 and 26. There are habit trackers and goal related boxes, which super helpful. And if I had had this earlier, I probably would have already filled this out. I think that during my 13th week / quarterly reset for the fourth quarter, which is coming up for me right at the start of September, I'm going to try and come through and work on some of this stuff. I'm unsure how I want to use the habit trackers. I thought about putting the kids' daily subjects here and then just checking them off, or, you know, something similar to that would probably be a good use of this space, although I don't necessarily need to keep track of that stuff as much as I did when my kids were younger. So we will see. And then there are monthly calendars, which I will put important dates in, the same that I used my Erin Condren teacher planner for. And this is a 14-month monthly calendar. And then there are weekly pages as well, and I haven't quite figured out how to use them. I think what I'm going to do is put sort of time blocking. It's not going to be super specific as far as stuff that we're doing. I don't expect it to be pretty, but just kind of laying out my week ahead of time so I know when I'm going to be homeschooling and when I have space for, you know, all of my other stuff that I'm doing. Today primarily is going to be just planning out our week of lessons. And see, I didn't even do anything last week just because I wasn't entirely sure. I may come back and do this, but one of the things is that I have not planned out our next week for my personal calendar. So I really ought to do that before I plan out our lessons, just in case there are things going on that I need to account for being out of the house, which impacts how much time I can spend with the kids doing their school or how much they are doing school. I think it's the last week before the public school kids go back, so it may end up being a little bit lighter again, but I think that I have a pretty good understanding of what we'll be able to get done. So that is what we're going to start with. So far, things are going quite well for homeschool, and I'm really happy about that. Lucy has teaching textbooks this week. I've already made a mistake. I'll probably just keep making mistakes. Quiz 1, okay. And then she does have Singapore. We are using both Singapore 5A and 5B and teaching textbooks 6. So Singapore lesson 4, but we don't do everything every day. We are going to be starting language arts week 2 application, which we use the Sunlight language arts. And so the application is like grammar. And then she will start working on her creative writing project on Tuesday, which I don't have her binder in front of me, but I think that I have everything all set for that. And then she will continue to work on that language arts project until Thursday. We are starting science week 3, and so far I really like the program. It's like Health and Human Anatomy. Sunlight has renamed it this year. It used to be level F when I did it with Jack and Emma, which was years and years ago. So it's been fully updated and they've switched out a lot of the books. And so far we are liking them. We shorten up the week of science and we do 2 longer days of science. So Monday and Tuesday, I try and finish up all of the science. And as long as I have everything for the little experiment, we do the experiment either Tuesday or Wednesday. Wednesday is our passion project day, and so we haven't gotten quite to that point where everything is so much better for easily moving through the materials. We're not at that point yet. Hopefully by September we will be, but I want to make sure that we have enough time for the kids' passion projects, so we do lighten up on science and history on Wednesdays. That just seems to work out pretty well for us. For history, we are going to be doing lap book number 3, number 4, and number 5. We are reading The Great Turkey Walk, which is a super fun book, and I try to do that a little bit each day. And then on Thursday, we'll be doing Brave Writer week 2 of Paddington, the copy work. And then on Friday, we will be doing Brave Writer questions that are in the Brave Writer Guide for Paddington. Paddington is a dart, and that is just what we're starting off with this year. The copywork is shorter. The questions aren't super in-depth. Paddington is a movie that Lucy has already watched, so we are reading the book and there are a lot of similarities, so we're talking about kind of the differences. Typically, I will read the book and then watch the movie, and we will most likely be watching the movies after we finish Paddington because they did come out with, I think, a third movie this year, maybe this summer, which I know everybody wants to watch. So we will probably be watching all of the movies once we are done with that book, and I will probably be done with it by the end of this little 4-week session. The goal is to be done with it within the 4 weeks, and so when we have our week off, we can watch the movies. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay. Then for Lucy's dailies, she is doing World Watch, and this is where I just don't know if I want to put these daily subjects on the habit tracker sections and just list them all out and then just check them off every day that we do them. I mean, I could do that. I'm just unsure. I'm kind of thinking about using these quarterly goal breakdown pages for whatever passion project the kids are working on as well, which right now Lucy is working on baking and slime making. So she is looking up all kinds of different recipes and trying them out. She did a lot of baking over the summer, and she's been making slime for years at this point. So she's trying to get creative with all kinds of different slime making things. So instead of just using like glue and borax solution, she's using other things to try and make slime. It's been kind of interesting to watch, but those are her priorities for our passion project day. So World Watch we do Monday through Thursday because Friday is a screen-free day, and then Wordly Wise we've been doing every day. However, once we get more into school, we won't do Wordly Wise on Wednesdays. We will just do it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and the same with spelling UC and cursive. And I didn't put read down, so Paddington, she is reading Paddington herself, so I will just put that down here, and she is expected to read every day. It's not her favorite, which is really different for me because my older two love reading, and Lucy does enjoy reading when she finds books that she wants to read. I guess maybe it's similar to Jack in that he doesn't want to read assigned books necessarily, but if he finds a book series or when I get him books for Christmas, he devours them. He reads quickly and loves it. But, you know, I think there's something about school that is just, they relate it to school. Even though I try and make it super fun and try to take in all of their interests, sometimes there is just pushback, and that is okay. I mean, not so much that we don't get things done, but sometimes they do look at what I'm having them do and not find as much value in it. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I think that is all for Lucy for this week. And we are hitting everything. It still doesn't seem like a lot. We haven't added any extra projects really at all yet, and I haven't started to deep dive on the level E history yet. I had said when I was doing my back to school prep that I was missing a book and I couldn't find that. I did find a video that we could watch instead, but I was kind of irritated that I couldn't find that little book. It is what it is. It's just not an easily accessible book for me, unfortunately. Even though I own it, I just can't find it in my house, which is an issue that I need to remedy soon. But overall, I'm feeling really good about Lucy's work. She's been super diligent. I think that she has really taken to heart the fact that she's in 5th grade now and that she has a little bit more that she has to do each day. And she has been doing quite well. One of the things that she's wanting to do is push off the school that she does with me to the afternoon. She wants to spend the morning doing all of her individual subjects. However, we really need to switch it so that she's doing her individual subjects after we do school together, because once the afternoon comes, it's just not as easy for me to be doing homeschool. And we did run into that at the end of last year as well. And I think I maybe mentioned that in a vlog recently. So we're just trying to get back into things, and I just have to be consistent. That is really the key, to just be consistent and say, nope, this is when we're doing stuff. And when I do that, things are fine. But it's when I say, okay, you can go do those other things, we'll work on stuff later, what ends up happening is I don't come back later to get all of the stuff done. Okay, so for Jack, we have had a couple of, not issues come up, but things that I realized that need to be done. We had our meeting on Friday to just kind of go over the week, which I do every week with my kids. More my older kids, well, now just Jack. I do a little bit with Lucy, just asking her how her week was and if she needs any extra help with things. But I do kind of sit down with Jack and just go through all of the subjects and say, where are you at with this? Because he is very self-motivated and kind of does his own thing. I give him the work and he's responsible to get it done. But we have had a couple of things come up. The first is Japanese, and he needs to spend some time reviewing the vocab from level 1 and level 2. So when you get to your third year of any foreign language, it's usually a lot more challenging. I know that Emma had the same issue, and we kind of had to stop for a little bit and review some of the vocabulary from the previous years just to refresh her mind, because obviously he wasn't doing it over the summer. It would be ideal if, when kids are learning a foreign language, you just consistently go through vocabulary when you're not actively in class. However, very, very unlikely that you are going to do that. I didn't do it when I was in school, and I did not expect my kids to do that either. So we just need to go back through Japanese from zero, books 1 and 2, and he is just going to be reviewing those over the next couple of weeks so that he can familiarize himself with the language again and just kind of relate it to the new book. Japanese is hard too, because I cannot help him at all with that. I can only do so much, and he will probably need to have access to the community, the Japanese from Zero community this year. He isn't quite ready to start that just yet, but I think once he reviews books 1 and 2 and starts to get into book 3 more regularly, he probably will also subscribe to that community. And there are teachers that can help answer questions and give more clarification. So that is part of just getting back into the swing of things. The next thing is CompuScholar, and he is doing Java. That is going quite well. I think that he is getting everything that he needs to done, and he likes the program. It's very easy to go through on your own, and then I just come in and grade some things, and there's teacher's notes and everything like that, so that is very helpful. We don't do CompuScholar on Friday, and I don't know where my whiteout is. It's hard for me to get back into the swing of things too with having our screen-free day, because in the summer we were not really practicing that. So for history, the other thing that we've struggled with starting this year are the 2 books that we are reading for his history unit. The first one is kind of a history of the Roman Empire, the SPQR book, and it's just super dry. I tried to get it on audio for him, and I do have it on audio for him. I think it's on Hoopla, and it's just so dry. And audiobooks, he does not do great with audiobooks. He zones out, or he wants to be doing something else. And when he's doing something else, he thinks about whatever the thing is that he's doing. I've tried to have him take notes, and that really wasn't engaging. So he just doesn't like that. So instead, I found a couple of documentaries on the history of the Roman Empire, which I'm going to have him watch. This first history unit is kind of a history of the Roman Empire, but then the alternative history is what would happen if the Roman Empire continued instead of falling. And so that is what we're working on. He is working on a paper on just the history of Rome, and then he is going to do kind of a short story on what would happen if the Roman Empire had endured instead of falling. And we are going to have him watch the movie The Eagle with Matt, and he can watch that and kind of discuss. It kind of talks about how the possibility of the Roman Empire continuing through various tribes. So I think it'll be interesting, and it will give him something a little bit of a pass because the other book that he was reading, Roma Eterna, I could not find that in physical form, and that's kind of science fiction, and I thought he would enjoy it a lot, but I think because he can't read it, he has to listen to it. He's just not enjoying it. So that is okay. And then historical baseline report. And then he also has to start paper. I don't know if I want to call it a paper or story on if the Roman Empire endured. He has another documentary on the history of the Roman Empire. And then let's see, just some notes on that. And then, okay, he is still reading The Hobbit. We are working on Brave Writer, Sunrise on the Reaping, week 2 questions here, and week 3 copy work. Friday is kind of like a day when he can work on things that he hasn't finished up Monday through Thursday. So he'll have some Brave Writer to do. He will still read The Hobbit, and then his papers for history and questions from Brave Writer that he has to flesh out, and then narration and his passion project. So each week I have him send me a summary of what he's worked on for his passion project for the week. Right now it is a video game that he's working on that he's hoping to release by the end of the year. He also does his live stream on Wednesdays for his YouTube channel, so that's another thing that he's working on. And then we also have teaching textbooks. So he is doing teaching textbooks, Algebra 2, and I can't remember if I said this somewhere else. I think in my curriculum choice video, I said that he was going to be doing Think Well Algebra 2 honors. And I thought I would put him into that because he tested into it fine, but I wanted to see how teaching textbooks goes. I figured I'm not going to mess with it when he seems to be doing just fine. Even though Friday is our screen-free day, he is still doing teaching textbooks. On Friday, I think there's 155 lessons / tests in teaching textbooks Algebra 2, and we have 175 days of school that we have to cover each year. So trying to get 5 days of teaching textbooks in when we can is good for him. Sometimes what he will do is on the test days, he will do an extra lesson. So he'll take his test and then he'll start the next unit. But for right now, he's just doing 1 lesson a day, and that is working quite well. And then for his daily subjects, he has World Watch, Wordly Wise, he has In Other Words, which is practical writing English curriculum from Not Consumed, and I really like that. He has not started doing daily narration yet, which I think I will start that after, like in September, when we get back to more of a normal schedule. On Wednesday, I don't expect him to do the Wordly Wise or In Other Words. On Thursday, he has World Watch and he has his current events paper due, and that's just like a couple of pages on some sort of current events story that they've listened to or watched on World Watch. And that is it. And I know that this seems pretty, I don't know, basic, straightforward. It's not super pretty, but this is what really works for us. For me, as far as keeping things listed out, I just like to have things kind of in order of how I do them. And then what I do is I will write all of this stuff on these week at a glance notepads that I got from Erin Condren years ago. I don't even think they offer these anymore. They may have something similar, but not the white background ones, which is what I prefer. And having this each Monday to give to my kids is so helpful. We go through everything on Monday during our Monday meeting, and then I do just check in with them each day periodically. Obviously a lot more with Lucy. We've only done 2 weeks of school. This is week 3. The first week I did not do these lists, and that was a problem. But the reason I didn't do the list was because I was just introducing the new materials and we were just kind of getting back into the swing of things. Last week I did do the lists, and I think that that was much more helpful. But this is my week at a glance for homeschool for week 3. I can't believe we're already going into week 3. It's going quick, and I know It's going to go very quick through the fall because we'll be busy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoy this little peek into my homeschool planning. If you're looking for more help and encouragement around home and homeschool and goals, I would love for you to come check out my membership community. That link is always in the description box. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And again, if you have questions or anything, please leave me a comment or you can email me. My contact form is always in the description box, and I would love to chat with you about homeschool. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.